What up, Mr. Smith? Point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith coming to you live from the office. I'm actually putting together a couple of letters for a client. And basically, they're serious about restoring their credit. And they know that they didn't necessarily want to do it themselves. So they say, hey, I love the education, the free education that you've been given. Can you do it for me? And that's what many people end up doing, because a lot of times we used to only just give education from an angle of, hey, do it yourself, you can do it. But we come to realize that a lot of people just don't necessarily want to fix their own credit or just go through the process of sending out the letters. And I honestly get it. I totally get it. So because of it, we started a credit restoration service, and we restore credit on behalf of people, and we're able to do more than what they typically can do for themselves due to the level of expertise that we've developed over the years of, restoring our own credit and having 800 credit scores and things of that nature. And now we're able to employ some of that knowledge and teach them along with doing it for them, so that way they're in a good position. So right now, I'm just putting together the letters, and this is just going directly to the bureaus. And when the bureaus receive this, then they have to respond based on the things that we're requesting. So we're, trying to verify this information for this particular client, make sure that this information is accurate, and if so, then we'll just proceed to the next step. But if not, and they're not able to prove that it's accurate, then hey, they have to remove it by law. So that's what you have to understand. As it relates to getting things removed off of your credit, there are laws that are in place that protect you. See, I love laws that work out in your favor. Sometimes people feel as though laws don't necessarily work out in their favor, but I love it when laws work out in a person's favor. And that's exactly what this process is all about. Using the laws to your advantage so they can work out in your favor. I mean, it's just that simple. So before I dive into just kind of, that as it relates to what I'm sending out, I just kind of want to talk to you about credit in general, because a lot of times people only worry about this part, which is getting things removed. And this is a great portion of it. 35% in many cases as it relates to restoring your credit. However, let me be amongst those, or one of the first to tell you that it's not the only part of the process. You see, credit is a holistic matter, which means you have to take a holistic approach in order to restore your credit. So there are actually 5 main factors that can help or hurt your credit. 5 factors. And you may have heard us talk about this before if you participated in any part of our free information, our free credit challenges, things of that nature. You've heard us talk about it. But because I realize a lot of people don't realize it, and they don't realize that even if they know the 5 factors, that is certain things that they can personally be doing in order to restore their credit, then I still like to educate on it. And then if they decide, you know what, that free information you just gave me was priceless, I don't mind paying you a high quality price for your service because I feel that it is worthy. So definitely we make it affordable, but it's not cheap, because we're good at what we do. And I love opening up my screen, going through to just kind of check updates on a regular basis, and seeing that things were removed, certain things were updated, positive accounts were added, and their score is growing at a steady pace. That's what it's all about. And sometimes at a very rapid pace. So it's not cheap to work with us, but it's affordable. And when you think about the amount of money that it saves you in interest, when you think about the amount of money that it saves you on paying for a car note or paying for a home, it is cheap. Because sometimes this information saves a person $50,000. So, yeah, it's definitely worth every dime as it relates to investing in someone to restore your credit. It's an investment, not an expense. And that's what you got to understand. So let's talk about those 5 factors that can help or hurt your credit. And I hope you don't mind me looking down as I write these. Sometimes, I know certain people use different stickers and things of that nature in order to do it, but I'm going to manually write them down because that's where I'm at. That's the kind of mood I'm in, and that's what I'm doing today. But sometimes I have my team of people who do it as well. But this is somebody I'm personally working with, so I'm doing it for them. But sometimes I do outsource it to my team and have them to do it. So that's a whole nother thing as well. If I'm doing it personally, because some people are like, no, I want you to do it. Okay, if that's the case, then if I'm actually doing it, I understand my time, my value, and the level of detail I'm gonna put into these letters and the process, then it'll be a premium price, but it's worth it. So reach out and all my assistant. Now, I hope you don't mind me looking down as I stated, because I want to go ahead and get this done, because got to make a run to the post office, make a run. The kids are doing some virtual school. Shout out to the Miss Smith. That's why you've been seeing me doing a lot of videos. She's been doing a lot with the fellas in terms of educating them and doing the virtual homeschooling through their school. And I gotta say, even though I love being side by side, us doing videos together and us, partners in crime in terms of doing business, I love to see her in their motherly teacher role. I love it. So I've been buying random flowers. I got some random soap, because she loves doing like self-care from time to time. So I got some random soap on the way. Gonna buy some more flowers because I think the other one's about to die. But, I just want to let her know I appreciate what she's doing. So that's why you ain't been seeing the queen. She's been putting a lot of effort into educating them, and we both educate them, both read to them, and both do all of those things. So it's not just solely on her, but she's taking that lead role, and I appreciate and applaud her wholeheartedly. So you're gonna see a lot of me, but definitely understand it's a team effort. I'm not able to do some of the things I'm able to do if she's not holding down the kids. That's just, the team effort, the power of a relationship when two people can get on the same page. You might not agree on everything, but if the mission is the same, then you can figure out what you need to do in order to work out the kinks. That's not what this video is about, but hey, you're on our channel, so I got to talk about the queen from time to time as well, so y'all know what it is. Anyway, factor number one as it relates to your credit, because that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. Factor number one, as it pertains to your credit, is payment history. And payment history affects your credit by 35%. So that's why many people focus on payment history, because it affects your credit by 35%. It's responsible for 35% of your score. But there's still a whole another 65% out there that many people leave off, and we'll get into that. But what is payment history? It's exactly what it sounds like, and I'm sure you know what it is. But it's the historical record of how you made your payments, on time, over time. So have you been on time with your payments, and how long of a duration have you been on time with those payments? Have you been late on your payments, and how long of a time have you been late on making those payments? Payment history, 35% of your score. So if your payment history is poor, it'll reflect on your credit score. It'll reflect on your credit report. Now, sometimes the companies and the creditors don't do what they're supposed to do, and sometimes the stuff is on there and it shouldn't be. Or sometimes they can't necessarily verify it in a timely fashion, and there are ways to get those things removed. That's what I mean by using the law to your advantage. So the way that usually fixes payment history and how it's negatively affecting your report are indeed these letters. So this is a portion of it. These letters. Of course, you making on-time payments going forward is something that's strongly encouraged, highly recommended, and something that you want to do. But these letters will help clean up what's there. So now you have a good foundation. That's really what getting credit restored is all about. Giving you a better foundation. You ever just wanted to push the reset button on life? Getting your credit restored is like pushing that reset button. So now you got some fertile ground that you can build on, and some of your past mistakes are not haunting you as much as they once were. So that's what that's all about. Now, with payment history affecting 35% of your score, what you got to understand is it's a certain percentage of that you can get in order to, and I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it's 192.5 points that you can get from your payment history. I might be off on that number, but if I'm accurate on exactly that number, because, my mind is a lot of places, plus I'm talking to you, I'm writing all of those things, but if I'm accurate, give me a crown down in the comments. But Nonetheless, it's a certain amount of points that you can get from that. And depending on how the credit bureaus or the creditors are feeling, you might not get all of them, but it's not about getting all of them. It's about accumulating as many points as you possibly can. That's what it's all about. Accumulating as many points as you possibly can. And by understanding that, you now go into understanding that it's almost like a game. Let's see how many points you can accumulate. And when you figure out that, now you have fun with it if you're fixing your own credit. Or if you're allowing us to fix it, then I have fun with it because, me and my team, we're just looking at it like, okay, up 20 points. Okay, up 20 points. Up 19, up 80 points, up 100 points. Because we're trying to collect as many points for the client because we understand that the client loves to see progress. And that's really what it's all about. Now, during this duration, your score can fluctuate, can go up, can go down. Especially if you're not doing your part. You have to be doing your part on your end in order to help us help you. The last thing you want to be doing is applying for everything that, people is throwing in your direction, because otherwise you're hindering us from helping you. That's a whole nother conversation. But you want to accumulate as many of those points as possible. And by sending off these letters, that allows us to accumulate some of those points. And that's just one factor. Factor number 2, as it pertains to your credit. We're going to wrap this up because I'm going to blow through the other ones. I'm just kind of taking my time on this one because I'm actually multitasking mentally and physically. So, factor number 2, credit utilization. Credit utilization. So what is credit utilization, you ask? Credit utilization is your usage of your credit limit as it relates to your credit cards. So it's all about your revolving debt. Your revolving debt is your credit cards. Credit utilization is affected by your credit cards. Nothing else. Sometimes people miss that. It's all about credit cards. So sometimes people may not have ever had a credit card in their life. Well, they're missing out on 30% of their credit report, or that being able to help their credit report because they don't have any credit utilization. And credit utilization is 30% of your score. You want to build some credit utilization. As much as you might hate credit cards, as much as you might listen to Dave Ramsey, who's against credit altogether, I guarantee you he has some credit cards. He ain't doing everything with cash. He's a business owner and he understands certain things. But you got to understand how to properly use it and just treat making money and accumulating wealth and building your credit like a game. So that way you know the rules to the game, you know how to play. And if you know how to play the game and know the rules of the game, then you heighten the chances of you winning. And then if you make mistakes along the way, then you heighten your learning, because mistakes are just really learning opportunities. So don't shy away from learning or feel like you did something bad by making a mistake, on your credit. That's a part of the game. So don't be hesitant on getting access to some type of credit card because it helps with your credit utilization. I may link down below a credit card that you can use. Matter of fact, I will. I'll link down below a credit card that you can use in order to, and if you don't see it, comment below. So, hey, what was their credit card? But it's a card that many people have been able to use to boost their score that, I suggest you strongly consider if you want to build your credit, even if you already have some credit cards, but you're just trying to start with a clean slate. Even if the balance is a low limit that they give you, take advantage of it. Click the link below, so you can get access. Nonetheless, credit utilization, 30% of your score. But what I love about credit utilization is this. Credit utilization is an area that you can get all of the points available. So if the credit utilization amount is 155 points, that's not the number, but let's just say it is. Because you are 100% in control of credit utilization, that allows you to get all of those points. You see, with payment history, you're subject to whatever they allow to stay or get removed off of your report. With credit utilization, that's totally up to you. So with credit utilization, with the revolving debt, you want to keep that score or keep that balance as low as possible. Many people say divide by 3, keep it under 30%. I hear that all the time. And that's cool. That's not bad, because it does click. But what I say is keep that joke in the single digit percentages, meaning under 10%. If you got $1,000 credit limit, keep it under 100. Now, when I say keep it under 100 and you got $1,000 limit, I'm not saying don't use it, because you want to be using it. But that may mean paying it off every month. That may mean understanding when the bill date is versus the payment date, so you can understand, okay, as long as I pay it off by this amount, when they report, it's going to look as though I pay it off every month, so they're not going to hit me with all of that high interest. There's different strategies to it, but aim for less than 10% strategically if you have to, and that way you position yourself to benefit from all of the points that come with that credit utilization, because that's affecting 30% of your score. I've seen many people who keep their credit utilization low and their score skyrockets 100 points in no time because they had full control over their part. Now they're able to qualify for their home in rapid speed like they never thought they would be able to do. And I want that same for you. And that's something that we'll guide you on if we see certain things. Hey, we encourage you to do X, Y, Z. Because if you do X, Y, Z, then that allows this to happen. Just kind of keep you in the loop. You'll get access to resources and inside our portal and different things that way you can, be a part of the process and not just, not knowing what's going on. The last thing we want is an uninformed client. If you can be educated some kind of way along the way, then it puts you in a position to where you no longer need us. We don't want you to come on as a client and then a year later you need us. We want you to get your stuff together. Then you no longer need us, and now you're more than likely willing to tell somebody else, hey, go to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, go to Marcus Smith, go to Royalty Credit Service, and they'll take care of you. That's what we want. Happy clients. That's really what it's all about. So that being said, credit utilization, get that down under 10% if at all possible, because that will help your score jump drastically. That's the second factor. So first we have payment history, spend a lot of time on that. Credit utilization, spend a little amount of time on credit utilization. All about credit cards and revolving debt. Let's talk about those final three. Credit history. So it sounds like payment history, but credit history is basically just the age of your credit. Some people refer to it as credit age. So basically, how long have you been utilizing your credit? What's the age? If your credit had an age, what would it be? How old is your credit? So credit age plays a part in affecting your credit score as well. About 15%. So we got 30. I always do this. 35, 30, and 65. And then you got 35% left. So we got 15, 10, 10. Boom. Yeah. So 15% is based on credit history, the length of your credit. So if you got a car note that you paid off and it was a 5-year loan or 6-year loan, that looks good on your credit history because it has some age, it has some substance to it. Sometimes what happens is when people get to sending off these letters, they get to removing everything, not knowing that you can mess around and move the wrong stuff. You want to be removing the right things as it relates to sending out these letters. And if you're removing some of the wrong stuff, then you hinder that person's good history that they could have had if you're not careful. Now, if it's something that's derogatory or it's affecting their credit and they have some good credit history, instead of getting the whole thing removed, you might want to figure out how you can get some of the positives updated and get some of the negatives removed from that account versus removing the whole account off your report altogether, because otherwise that can cause a drastic drop in your score and that affects your credit history. Now, what you also have to understand about credit history is that the more recent the credit history, the better. And by recent, I mean the previous 2 years. So the previous 2 years of your credit report is better than what might have happened 5 years prior to that. Not that it doesn't matter, it's just that it affects your score more because they want to know, do you still got it? Are you still capable of paying things on time? So just because you paid things on time 5 years ago, that don't mean you can still pay things on time today. But in the past 2 years, if you've been doing it, they're like, okay, they still got it. Let me go ahead and, make sure their score is intact because those previous 2 years matter. Just a little FYI for you to understand. Number 4, and these last two, they kind of go hand in hand. Well, you'll see. But they are equally effective, like 10% of your score. So first one, 35%, second one, 30%, third one, 15%. The next one is credit mix as well as new credit. So you can flip those and throw credit mix at the end. But new credit is exactly what I was speaking on when I said recent credit, the previous 2 years, matter the most. So if you don't have recent credit that's reflecting on your score, then you might want to acquire some new credit. That might be getting a secured loan. That might be getting, secured card. That might be getting a credit builder loan through the bank. That might be acquiring something that you were going to acquire anyway, and just really being disciplined about making sure that it is positively affecting your credit score. New credit plays a part, and that's 10% of your score. So there are different things that you can do in order to acquire new credit. I just listed a couple of options, but you definitely want to understand the power in it, because it's one part of you being able to accumulate as many points as possible. Like I said, you want to treat it like a game, collect as many points as possible so you can win in the game of credit. Last but not least, credit mix. And credit mix is just basically a mixture of things on your credit report. Basically diversification. When it comes to life, you don't want to have all of your income coming from one source. You want multiple streams of income. That's called diversifying your income. You don't want all coming from one source. If you're investing, then you don't want all of your eggs in one basket. Same is true with credit. You don't want everything in one area. They want to know that you're well versed in terms of paying people back. They want to know how credible are you. Are you credible in terms of your credit? So credit mix allows you to flex your muscle and pretty much show that you're credible. You're incredible when it comes to your credit. So you got to understand that. And credit mix is what we've been talking about. If you've been doing all of the things that we discussed in payment history, if you've been doing everything as it relates to your credit utilization, if you understand credit history, if you understand new credit, then you automatically got all of those things if you do it accordingly. And by working with us, then that's some of the things that we'll encourage over the duration of our relationship if we're restoring your credit for you. But plainly put, credit is more than just one area. And if somebody is not educating you on all 5 factors, then might want to reconsider, and not to take you from where you are. If you're happy where you are, then stay where you are. But if you still would like assistance and somebody who, can educate you along the way, or you can just benefit from a lot of the free content that we have here, you'll be in a win-win scenario, because we're here to assist you and empower you and make sure that you have royalty credit, hence the name, royalty credit service. So those are the 5 factors. Just wanted to talk to you while I was doing certain things. And when it comes to mailing off letters, different people say different things. Should I send it certified? You see, we got these certifieds on deck. Or should I use snail mail and a stamp? Sometimes it's preference, but it just depends on what you're trying to get done. With certified mail, you're at least able to track when they receive it, and it's times where you want to use that. With snail mail, you just have to depend on the post office to do what it is that they say they're going to do, but many people get results with that. So that's just preference. I won't dive too deep into that, but just understand I do both, for different reasons when necessary. So that being said, hey, if you have any questions, if there's any way you feel that we can assist you, let us know. This video was a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I wanted to talk and do at the same time so I can maximize this time. I wanted to do a video, but at the same time, get some work done, send some letters out for a client, and come back and do some more letters for another client. But that's all I got for now. Let us know if we can assist you in any way. Let me know if you got any value, which factor is your favorite. If you have questions or any videos that you would like us to do in particular, we don't mind doing it. That's all I got. Mr. Smith, signing out. Salute.